Hey there, everybody, and welcome. Today I've got PS-22 Ventus from Ocular Max, aka their take on Autobot Blades, and this is the fifth and final member of their Maximus Pro Defensor Combiner. And I could not be more excited to bring this guy. So, box is as usual with MMC. You got the cool artwork from Jogo King and all the product shots, and there's his bio with tech specs. And there you go. Boom. Really cool stuff. So glad we finally got this guy. And of course, that's it for the box. Here is the bot. Let's get a good close-up look at him. Now, out of the box, the head was scrunched down, and even the instructions say just pull up for added articulation. But there's... let me zoom in. There's a good look at that face. Really nice face sculpt. Love the metallic blue-gray eyes. Some decent detail throughout, but of course, you know, it is toon-themed, so there are some areas where there's not much going on. But still, it looks great. Looks good. Backpack is accurate, and it's not the worst in the world. It's not huge. So there he is. Taking a look at accessories, you get your instruction manual, nothing special there. You get your collector's card, just like all the other MMC bots. They love to do that. We all love it. And then other stuff. So you get three faces. You get the straight face that's on him. Then you've got smiling face. Then you've got screaming face. And then you get his two blasters for his legs, which just cast in white plastic by the looks of it, but they do have some decent detail. They can also bend at 90 for both arm mode and helicopter mode, and I'll show you when we get to there, but they just pop on like that. For robot mode, you've got a square tab, goes into these square ports on the top of the little outcroppings of his legs. I don't believe I have his feet set up at all right now. And then you've got his blaster out of the box. It comes like this, but with all the artwork, including animation example, it should be like this, because that's going to be like your magazine or your grip, and then that's your sight. So that's that. And then, of course, he can hold that very securely. Standard tab in palm, as MMC likes to do, and even a few other companies. And there we go. So now he's got his blasters, all three of them, and he is ready to go. So that is it for accessories. Now we'll do a quick run through articulation. So his head being on that ball joint, once you pull it up and you give him the clearance, you got some side to side. His head is also on this little panel that'll move. So you can get looking down to there, which isn't much. But then with the panel, you can get up there pretty good. The arms do have butterfly joints. They also have a full 360 rotation on friction. Friction shoulder, that gets them up to there. Bicep, also friction. And it does move these with it. They're kind of separate, but they do move with bicep. You have a soft ratcheted elbow that gets you above 90. You have a wrist rotate, and due to the design, you have just the tiniest little bit of in and out. It's meant to be for transformation though. Thumb, and then 4 individual curved fingers, again, as usual for at least the smaller bots on MMC. You do have a waist rotate and an ab crunch. Only thing I'll say is the ab crunch, this red piece of the fuselage, when you go to put the ab back down, it likes to hit, so you may have to like scoop it over that piece. And yes, you notice the things fall off. That's unfortunate. They just don't tab super securely. They're good once they're there, but it's easy to knock them off because they stick out so much. I'll just leave them off. Let's see. hip skirts. Get this out of the way. You got a hip skirt for the front, the side, and then nothing for the back. So you go all the way up to there, back to there, and all the way out to there on a soft ratchet. You do have a thigh rotate right here. Single jointed knee gets you 90. And then you have an individual toe that can go down. It can't really go up because of design. But you do have two different hinges. The heel, you have this hinge as well if you need it for some reason. And then you can get a little bit of a ankle rock, but not much because it's attached to the hand, which is inside the leg. So that does limit the feet articulation, but other than that, it is not bad for the articulation. Paint, most of it is unpainted. Then you've got some red accent here, the blue, and then on the exterior of the helicopter, the canopy is painted red, translucent black with red over it, and then you got some details on the outside. We'll see that a little bit more in helicopter mode, but there's just not a lot of painted detail, which is also about par for the course for MMC. I'm okay with it. I still love them. Now would be a good time for some size comparisons here. So get him right off to the side. First and foremost, here's an average Carbot Takara smokescreen. So you can see he is definitely a little bigger than a normal Carbot. I don't mind the size. To me, the combiner bots, I'm okay with them all being just a little bit bigger than their average brethren anyway. So I'm okay with that. And then here's my TE-01 Optimus Prime, so he can stand next to his commander. And that's my big thing, is that as long as everybody is shorter or the same height than their commanders, Prime or Megatron, I'm happy with that. So, again, looks good. And then let's get the team in here. Here's First Aid, here's Streetwise, here's Hotspot, and Grooves. And there we go. The team is complete. And man, do they look good together. There are various mixes of reds and whites and gray. And then the one blue one. They all look good. They all look good. They're all awesome fun to transform. I can say that even about this guy so far, is that it's still not a bad transformation. There are some things, and I'll point out when we get to there. Just got to be careful about. But there's the team. There's some size comparisons. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and get down to transformation here. And like I said, only a couple of things that are a little annoying or a little rough, especially your first time. So first and foremost, you'll notice I do have the hands curled up, but the thumb is out. It's a little odd. MMC, usually the thumb is down here, but this time, gotta have your hand like that. Right? And we're gonna start on the back. So just pull up on the blades a little bit and just unhook them from the cockpit. All right, and then bring all of this out, push down on the head, and rotate it 180. And if you're doing this straight out of the box, the head's probably already pushed down, and these may already be a little disconnected. And then just flip up the cockpit. You can see a small locating tab right here that goes into the red part of the cockpit. It may make an actual click noise, but it's not really that secure as of yet. But we'll do that, and we'll get this kind of set up. You can see that this piece is on a slider, right? And we'll be playing with that again in a little bit. It'll make the arms a little bit easier. But, so we're going to start with that. I'll go ahead and bring this up. And now is what we're going to do is we'll do the arms. We'll get them ready, I should say. Let me clarify that. So you rotate the hand 90. Flip down on this inner panel and fold the hand in. Do that on both sides. Oops, this thumb is trying to go down. There we go. And you see that's how the hand should be fitting. So a lot of weird things going on here with the hands and with the chest. So for the chest, you've got these pieces right here that are hooked onto metal pins that the arms slide on. You got to disconnect these chest pieces from those metal pins. The pieces are on those pins really tightly. I can use a spudger, get in here, and kind of force them forward off those pins. But it is tight, and Okay, so now you can see this one. You can just barely start to see that pin. See? So at least it's unlocked. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to try doing the same thing. What I'm doing is I'm basically putting the spudger in, and I'm using it as a wedge. There we go. Heard that nice click. Here, now I'll lift up the canopy a little bit. Move the arms back down so they're out of my way. Now I can lift up on all that. And I need to separate the chest pieces. They're kind of clipped in here. I'm just gonna... There we go. There we go. So that was one of the rougher parts of the transformation, just because you don't have a lot of access. Once you do get to this point, you got the chest folded. Go ahead and fold those pieces all the way in. Okay. And now we're gonna rotate this whole thing up. And you see why I mentioned about how we're going to mess with the canopy a little bit more. This piece needs to go above these pieces. So, hold on. There we go. I'm trying to rotate that thing. There we go. So you've got the canopy, the front in place, and you've got those pieces in place. I'm still going to leave these down for now because of the arms, but we're getting there. So, we're good on that part. I'll go ahead and lift up on this whole piece and just unfold this. I'll do more of that in a bit. Now, the instructions are not super clear. It tells you that there's a slider and you need to slide something down. It's just this piece. Only that piece right there. And then you can fold this piece, bring it together, and just bring this whole piece up. This is a combiner hinge. We'll have to do another step of that when we're ready for that, but for right now, we just want it up. And you're going to slide the whole body forward on that. All right. Now, this is another part right here that we're just, it's a little odd. The doors. So you've got this piece you need to fold down. You don't really have any clearance. For MMC, that's a little odd. They're usually really good about giving us clearance for things like this. So rotating it around doesn't really help. Doing it where it was doesn't really help. You just are gonna have to bring it up. Just do it carefully. Also, this piece, it rotates in one direction. It'll go that way, it'll go that way, but it has a stop. So if you try, if it feels like it doesn't want to move, don't force it. It's already at its endpoint. But so you get this piece extended out, then you can just rotate this piece out a little bit. See if I can see. It sits like that. Bring that out a little, and that piece also rotates. And again, rotates only one direction. If you try going the other way, you might damage something. If you force it, you definitely will. And you just rotate that all the way around. And then we'll rotate the biceps, because they are eventually going to line up. And now we'll rotate the entire arm assembly. Now we're going to do the same on the other side. Going to rotate this around, extend it out, open up that, and rotate that as well. There we go. I'll rotate the bicep, rotate the entire arm assembly. So now we got to bring the arms down on these sliders. Just be careful with it. I wouldn't want to damage anything. So I like to do a little wiggle as I bring it down. Come on now. Why are you fighting? There we go. There. Haven't had that one fight before. Come on. There we go. That one went a lot easier. Cool. So just slide them all the way down. Like I said, just give them a little wiggle. Like you're at an offset, so you're trying to pull on a hinge to get the front of it to go straight down a pole. So that's all it is. I'll bring out these landing gear, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate all of this in and get it all tabbed into multiple places. So this tab that's on the front by the hands is going to go into this slot on the nose of the helicopter. You've got this small tab that's going to go into this small slot for the hands, all right? This is the bottom of the helicopter. You've got two tabs in these pieces that we unfolded with a little bit of red paint. They're going to go into this slot and this slot on both sides, same exact thing. And then you've got a tab right in here that's on the shoulder assembly that's going to slot into this slot in the middle of this armature. So it's going to be an odd one. You've got to rotate the shoulder, you've got to rotate the forearm and the fuselage part all pretty much at the same time. So I'll go ahead and get this tabbed in best I can. It may come untabbed, and I'm fine with that, but at least try it. And I'm just going to rotate in. And yeah, this is an odd part because of this. It does work, and it works very well. And I don't really feel like anything's going to break, but I'm still wary of that metal pin that these are rotating on. It's still a metal pin. It's not immune to damage or breakage. And then, of course, it's housed in plastic, so I'm just going to keep rotating everything in. Also, if you wanted to put his weapon in the nose of the helicopter, this would be an awesome time to do it. Because you see, where did I put it? Right here. It fits right here, and it sandwiches between the two halves. Right. So for argument's sake, I'm probably going to do that. But let me get these a little bit closer. You see, it's just a matter of rotating. The bicep is really strong on the shoulder. It doesn't really want to rotate without any help. And it's fine for bot mode, but for this part, it can get a little annoying. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. There we go. So I'll line up this front piece, get that tabbed in, make sure these sides are tabbed in, just give it a good squeeze from the side. And then I got to make sure these are tabbed into the red armature in the center, which they were not, now they are. Good. Whew. That is probably the toughest part of the entire transformation, regardless of which mode you're going to. And it's just because you have three different things that are able to rotate, you only want one of them to rotate, you want the other two to pretty much stay where they're at. So, that's done, and we got his blaster in, and I did forget we got to rotate this down. For this mode, that is why the gun is able to rotate, because if you have the magazine up, it's going to contact, and yeah, whatever. Okay. The book says to close the combiner port now, but I found that it's better to wait on that until after we've got the legs all folded up, and we'll show you why when we get there. Now, before going much further on the legs, we're going to disconnect this, and we're going to bring these side hip skirts up. Probably could have done that first, but just bring them all the way up. Just fold them up inside so that they are sitting, come on, there we go. You want the side hip skirts sitting up in there like that. I'll go ahead and fold this piece down, close these up, just because I can. So, bring up the hip skirts and for the legs. So we're going to go ahead and fold these down, or fold them together, I should say. Rotate this one. Let me just do one leg at a time here. I'm going to untab from the side. I'm going to untab this and fold it up. Okay. And kind of cool, you just pull on all of this. And by doing that, I'll slide the toe in as well. Doing that, you bring it all the way out, all together, it rotates, and it pretty much should end up where it's supposed to be. Now for this piece, you can see it's got a little post. It's supposed to go into this channel. And then this will come down. You've got the two like posts and tabs, and they just kind of rest in place. In fact, you can even put them down and then close this panel up on top of them. So there's that. Untab and swing this around, and then you've got this little piece. Flip out and lock it in place. Do not forget to unlock that when you're going out of helicopter mode to either combined or bot mode. You will damage that. It is very thin. Okay, so that's one. Let me do the other side. The other side is a little different because it's got this fin with the small blades on it, so don't forget that. Open up. Bring the toe and heel down. Slide the toe in. And then again, pull on everything. Rotate it around. Go ahead and put this down. Close this up until I get it where it's supposed to be. Oh, of course. I just did it on the other side and I already forgot to rotate that. Because see, it fits when you do it right. What can I say? My coffee is still taking effect. Alright, we'll rotate this out. Go ahead and open that. And we'll swing out the back that has the fin. Now, do not close the legs yet. There's a couple different things. First of all, we're going to rotate 360. Or, sorry, 180. I'll learn my numbers one day. And you want to compress the thighs. Now, the buttons are right here on each side of each thigh. Those are very hard to hit with my nail. I usually have to use a blaster or something to push on it, because even my spudger won't push on them. But let's see, I just tried pushing on them. Can I compress? Yes, alright, good. I got it that time. And just go all the way up until it stops. That little cutout is a good cutout for the actual hip joint as well. But just compress them, push them up. Go ahead and close the legs together, and it'll all just should all line up and tab together pretty well. Make sure that both sides are... Wow, this thing's going all kinds of out of sorts at the moment. Slow down here, buddy. Trying to show them the thighs. Okay, there we go. This left thigh I did not have compressed all the way. There we go. Okay, cool. It is going all kinds of crazy on me right now. So, I'm going to bring this down. We're going to lift up on these two hip flaps. And just have them up like that, alright? So you can see how I've got that. It's pretty much closing off everything there. Now for this part, it's on this double joint, bring it down, and fold these. And you want it sitting like that. That's how you want that. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to rotate at the ab crunch first. And this is why I said leave the combiner port out, because there's a couple different things. The combiner port will tab in to this ab crunch. I can't really show you that well right now. I can see it, but just barely. There's a pair of slots. One of them is right here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you a little better. Yes. When you fold this in, the combiner port is going to tab into this slot on both sides. And these fuselage pieces, are also going to tab into a slot. So let me zoom you back out. So, the entire thing at once first. There we go. You see now? Right there, it's not showing you. There you go. You can see that little white tab in there. It goes into a piece. And then you can kind of see it. Now my lighting does leave a little to be desired. Best I can do without spending a lot of money. But just close up the combiner port at this point and it should sit flush, right? Now, kind of cool, you're going to take the thighs, they're going to bend forward, and you're going to use the knees and bend it back. Right, so get it like that, and then just compress. And there we go. And then you've got tabs for slots. Bring that all down. And it should all line up, should locate. Now we've got the blades. You've got this post going into this port. So get that in, and also hold it as close to the base as you can. If you're holding it up here and you're trying to do that, you're going to snap this thing in half. Just be careful, think about what you're doing. Now we're going to bring the blades down a little bit, and you want to rotate these pieces up. Now again, flimsy pieces, I grab right here on the hinges, and I rotate them together. And then you can just bring the blades out. There they go. Bring these fins up. This, rotate it to the right side. And then you just rotate the blades till they're about 180 out. All right. And that is it. The only other thing I can show you is flip up here on both sides. For his weapons. Rotate these 90. Post and port. There we go. And that is it for Ventus going into his helicopter mode. So, taking a look at him, so we know this whole canopy is clear plastic, and it's been painted over, and that's why that red is a little darker than the rest. Other than that, though, all the reds look pretty good. They pretty much match. Got some cool details. You got the little turbine exhaust in here. It's got that little fan blade. You've got rolly wheels. It does sit perfectly fine by itself. Of course, the front one spins really well. The back one, it does spin if you pull it out. But it's just really easy to disengage those two blades from each other. They don't locate like Vortex and Chops did. So it's just really easy for them to end up swinging back down and being like they are for bot mode. But still, he looks good. Just some red, some white. Nothing crazy. Pretty simple medevac or fire helicopter with guns. Because, you know, the best way to fight fire is with guns, of course. Or to save people, you know. You're injured? Let me shoot some guns. Right? So he looks good, though. He looks good. He does the trick. I mean, him and Vortex, Chops, are the only helicopter transformers that I have, that I remember. So, it's cool to just have these alternate vehicle modes other than just a car and a truck all the time, right? So, there's that. Move them off to the side, and let's see some size comparisons. Right, so first thing, we'll go ahead and do smokescreen, that average car bot. So, you know, a little small for a helicopter. But anyway, what are you going to do? Still looks good together. Still looks good. Then we'll get Optimus Prime in here. My TE-01. And again, you know, it is a helicopter. Scale is wildly out of range, like with the Grooves. But, you know, there's that. And then we'll get the entire team in here. I'll get, let's see how I'm going to do this. Let's get Hotspot at the back. We'll get Grooves there. Or, I'm sorry, Blades. Then there's Grooves. Yeah, this ain't going to fit. My setup is not big enough. There we go. There we go. There's the team. And of course, 2 members are wildly out of scale, but yeah, it's alt mode. Who cares? But there they are. They look good together. Tune, decos for these 2. So, all right. That's it for size. And really, that's it for blades for the most part. All we can do now is get them to arm mode. Alright, so combined mode, right arm mode. So, go ahead and separate the propellers and fold those down. And I'll go ahead and bring them back up for now just to stay out of my way. Come around here. Oh, I just hit it with my hand, but I wanted to fold those down anyway. Put them together. I'll put them on the front of that. Lift up on the upper part of the cabin. Bring this down and separate these 2 pieces, then bring it all the way back up, just like it was for robot mode. Going to combined mode, a lot of it is similar to robot mode. I'm going to go ahead and fold these 2 things out right now. Could do that later, just going to do it now. I'm going to open up the combiner port, and I'm going to extend all this. So it's just like it was before, right? Going to lift up and pull out. And then once we get to this point, we're going to continue to pull out. And there we go. Just kind of work things free. So we're at this point. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to rotate this around. I'm going to fold both of these hip skirts back down. I'm going to bend at the knees. I'm going to fold these down all the way. And then I'll put this down. That's the front of the elbow already. Then back here, go ahead and fold these back up like they were for bot mode. Close that up. And I want to bring these side hip skirts out. All the way down. If you don't bring the side hip skirts out, that will mess with your elbow rotation, right? So, there's that. So what I want to do for this combiner port, it's kind of weird. You see this little square right here in the center. This is the face that's going to be inside the port. So there it is. I did it. All right, cool. So you can see how that's sitting. And now the only other thing to do, let me actually go ahead and get that gun out. If you want, you can leave the gun in here for combined mode. That is an option. It is absolutely an option. You don't have to, but you can. I will remove it so I can show you other stuff we can do with it. Okay, squeeze everything together. And now, do not forget, once you get the combiner port set up, here I am. What kind of professional am I? But you push it in. So let me show you what I did. So you wanted to put, you split the parts because you need to untab the shoulders from the red hinge, okay? Then you slide it on the slider that we had for the torso. By doing that, then you close the shoulders together. Now the shoulders, those single tabs, instead of tabbing these into the red piece, they tab into the combiner port, which makes everything super solid, super stable. So there we go. All right. Before I get to the legs, let's just do a quick look. So you've got the shoulder, you've got the cabin slid forward on that joint. All right, you can see how it looks there. Your butt flaps, your side skirts, those are how they would be in robot mode. And then the front one is basically just folded down 180. And then you've got your combiner port. It is lowered on that double joint and it is locked into place. And then we'll go ahead and untab the mast, fold that in, and we can fold this down. Now we'll come back and finish up here in a minute, but let me go ahead and get the legs taken care of now. So is what we want to do for the legs. We're going to split them. Maybe easier said than done. It does tab together very securely, thankfully. Come around here to the bottom. Going to lift up on these pieces. There we go. Let's see. I'm going to disengage these clips so I can fold the tail back up. There we go. Do that on both sides. And you can do this all one side at a time. I just kind of have a habit of doing both sides at the same time. For some reason, don't know why. So now that we've got the tails folded back up how they were, you've got this disconnected and these open. We're going to go ahead and rotate, kind of going back to the leg mode for bot mode. The legs for bot mode, yeah, sure. But when you get to this point, go ahead and rotate this out. Now you want to bring this down, bring this out, and fold it up. So you want it looking like that for one leg. And just because I know some people will have an issue seeing mirror images, which is perfectly fine, this is how you want them looking. All right? Once you get to that point, just fold the fist out. These, if you've got them set up, should slide right in. Of course, I had them just off center so slightly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring the thumb out of the hand now. Just easier, but you don't have to. And now go ahead and keep folding these things up. So as you fold in this piece, you've got a post that goes into a port right here. So make sure that gets into there. You'll have to lift it up ever so slightly to make it mount up. Now bring them together. And this is a little weird because of the different hinges. You want to make sure that the hand actually clamps together. If you just clamp the pieces together, the white part of the hand may not actually connect. So I like to start with the white part, then the actual hand itself, and then I'll come back here and tab these pieces together. And then I can focus on making sure these tab in. You've got this large slot, this large slot and that slot for these two tabs on this side. So get that together. This side is the same, but then you also have this, fold it around, fold it down. This is about how that should be sitting. Okay, so this is the back of the forearm, and that's the front. I'll go ahead and rotate the hand over. Now when it comes to the cockpit here, we're going to separate to get my spudger for this. That spudger has seen better days. Here we go. Try in here. There we go. I just needed to find a way to get in there. But that's all you want to do is separate, and then you're going to lift up on this cockpit. If you really wanted to, you could leave it all together. You could fold this up, fold the blades down, but there's not going to be anything stopping them, so they're just going to be all floppy. But you can do that if you prefer the cockpit to be just all one piece. I'm going to do what the book says. I'm going to show you the way that Ocular Max says to do it, and then if you want to do any fan mods after that, that is totally up to you. It is your toy, you do what you want. So for opening this up, trying to do it without doing too much here, but as you can see, it is fighting. So we'll just split the cockpit, cabin a little bit, whatever, the body. There we go. And just lift up. Now, put this back together and make sure it all goes back in where it's supposed to. All the different little tabs and slots. Alright. Once you get to this point, you just rotate all of this in. It'll sit roughly like that. I know it looks weird. That's why I said you can have it together if you wish. It's just that your rotor blades will be a little loose and floppy. And now we go. So you've got a tab here and on the other side of the rotor, because you can flip it around, and it just goes into one of these slots right up here. All right. So just pick one, get it tabbed in. That is how that should be looking. Here is the top of it. And there you go. Unfold the thumb, and that is it for his right arm mode. You do have a double jointed elbow, as you do for pretty much the all of the other three combiner limbs that Ocular Max has done. Blastoff's was a little weird, like you technically had a double joint, but you could barely use one of the joints due to just design. But he can do a very nice deep bend. You do have a rotate. You technically need to be using this upper joint, which is why, you know, the side skirts need to be down, the back flap needs to be down. But it's possible that in just moving it, you might untab it, and now you're using the lower joint, which is not how it's meant to be used, but you can do that. It just, you're going to have the other flaps kind of floating around. Then, of course, your hand is the same as it always is for Ocular Max. You've got the thumb on a ball joint that I just popped off. There we go. Thumb on a ball joint with 2 pins. Fingers, 3 pins each, and they do splay out, which is something we did not get with Assaultus, but we do get with Maximus Pro. But there we, and then of course you got your wrist rotate. You know, it only goes so far in each direction due to the construction. But there you go. You can, if you want, put the cannons on the side of the fuselage here. Just plug it in. And there you go. Now, you know, that would look really weird. I'm not really a big fan of that because it's so big and bulky. It's kind of like Zeta Superion, maybe even Pantoi Superion, I don't know, where the wings get in the way. They'd be the same thing. The guns would be getting in the way. You can have the main gun up here. That's fine. That won't get in the way. But what else you could do is you've got these tiny little squares. Those can plug in to the side there. And then this gun, I'll flip it around, and you can just tab it in right at the top here. And boom. You can be doing that number. Alright, so just like with Groove's, how all 3 of Groove's guns were able to mount with the main combiner limb, all 3 of Blade's guns can mount with it. So you can have both of his guns all weaponed up, ready to go. And then, of course, first aid and streetwise, you just throw their guns inside of them, like for regular vehicle mode storage. Okay, and there you have Ocular Max Ventus, aka Autobot Blades. And first and foremost, man, I'm so happy that we have the team complete. This is the second complete combiner from Ocular Max. And I wasn't around for Assaultus, so I just was able to buy them all in one shot when I started collecting. So this guy, awesome guy. Very little paint, but what is there is a good quality. It has held up to multiple transformations and posing so far. We'll see how time goes on, but so far I've always been good with Ocular Max's paint. Transformation, not that bad at all. Like I said, a couple of pieces to watch out for just because it's a little difficult to rotate them, or maybe it needs a hair more of clearance than it has, but still better than some other various robots from various third-party companies, not even just one. And when he is in all 3 of his modes, he is very solid. Nothing feels loose, nothing feels like it's ready to come apart on you, except maybe the backpack a little bit for combined mode, and then you can see how I've got in here these white pieces. It kind of tabs in here, not super securely. It's on the backpack though, it's not a big deal. But the mast will just come unslotted from the cockpit in combined mode easily. Other than that though, everything's pretty secure, pretty good. As far as the Protectobots go, he is probably a solid number 3 for my favorite of the team. Grooves is still my number 1, and I'm not gonna lie, I know he's a little bloated. He looks like he's only been doing biceps, but I do love Hotspot. He's probably my number 2. But it's either Hotspot or this guy for my second favorite, and then the other one for third. I'm just gonna say he's my third. definitely recommend this entire set from Ocular Max if you're okay with the combiner height being a little bit shorter than most of the other combiners. I will do, like I said, I'll do a separate video on the combiner. I'll compare him to all the combiners I do have so you can see, but I do know he is roughly 18 inches from foot to the top of the head, not including the shoulder extensions from him in First Aid. So he is shorter, but this guy, he's a good size. He fits in well with the rest of the Autobots. And he's a good look. Great look. So overall, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye.